Hey everyone, how's it going? In this episode, I wanted to talk about the spectrums of life. And what I mean by that is the varying degrees of which our opinions are. Because in life, we experience differently. And so to us, when we come into our perspectives with other people, it may be different. Meaning that what something views as gross or violent may not be to the same depth or degree as this other person or this other person. And to realize that that is how a lot of us experience is differently. And so when I say the spectrums of life is because I always look at the way I see something and I put a notch there. And then I come up with the completely opposite extreme version of what it is I believe, and there's a notch there. And then realizing that there's all the in-between of opinion that exists. And so when someone else comes into our perspective, or talking, or discussion, or whatever it is, coming into what we're discussing about this topic, let's say something gross. So let's say I grew up around someone picking their nose all the time, or even just like drooling all the time, so to me that's no longer that gross. To me that's something normal, but to this other person who has never experienced that is really gross. And it's the same about violence. If someone was beat their entire lives and then they have someone else who grew up in a family where there was no beating or abuse or even verbal abuse, to them this would be majorly violent, where this person may view that person as, well, one, extremely lucky, but two, also as when they get a little nudge or something, because that's part of it. Someone who is used to getting hit, when they get a little bop on the shoulder, it's nothing. But to someone who hardly gets touched, and it's so when they get bopped, they're like, ow, that hurts. That comes to with the spectrums of life, and where it is that you approach life from is because things are different for each of us and what we experience. And so when I arise at an opinion, I also realize that there's the extreme opinion that exists, and from there, possibly a more extreme version on the other side. And so I came in on the spectrum where? And that is what I mean by the spectrums of life. That based on our own experiences, the way we view life is completely different than the way someone else views life. And the depth and degree it goes to is because, to me, extremely violent, which could be killing someone with knives, is a horror story to someone who can't even imagine someone killing someone with knives because they haven't even been punched before. And it's just kinds of things like that. It's the same with bullying. If some people think that a little bit of a push or a little bit of verbalization of what they said is not bullying, then you need to ask, what is it that they have gone through and experienced for them to not see that as bullying? Have they been abused? Do they get verbal abuse from their own parents or friends or circle around them, whereas this person had none? And then realizing that it doesn't mean one is better off or not than the other, is that we each just have our own things to learn, because this person could be too sheltered, and it is too bad that this person was beaten, but at the same time, what is it that they were meant to learn out of this, and what is it that they are meant to learn out of this? And each have their pros and cons of how they further in life. There is no perfect way to be raised. There is no perfect way of anything, really, is because, again, that is a perception of what we each believe to be perfect. Because for some, a perfect life like that is not appealing, and to some, an abused life like that is not appealing. But I know some people that have gotten abused that come out of it and become better people, and because they were that way, they would not do it to their own children. And so they learned that, whereas someone who has not been beaten possibly might turn out to be someone who beats their children, even though probably not, but you never know, is because possibilities everywhere, always endless possibilities. And the truth is to know that we all experience differently. We all have different perspectives and degrees and depths in which things affect us in our opinions and the way we see everything, which is why spectrum is based on perspective. Good luck with that, and realizing the varying degrees and depths of every single thing in every single aspect. Love you all.